Good morning, welcome to Morning Review. This is Kim speaking on Monday, the 26th of September. So looking at actually I've got the pound dollar here first, so I should cover that first. Friday saw us break the trend line that was sitting there across the lows from way back in July there, July, August sort of lows there. At the moment, from what I can see here, and if you come back to a weekly chart, it does look quite bearish. I mean, we put a pivot swing in the week before. We saw some continuation through that last week, and at the moment, well, we haven't started the week on a rally, have we? It's certainly sold off a little bit here, maybe short term a bit oversold, but all the same, it's air kissed the daily pivot. That's out the way. Has the weekly pivot above, which has a possibility of being hit. We're nowhere near being oversold or anything in the sort of more intermediate time frames. Only on the short time frame at the moment, that may just may be a bit of selling pressure coming through first thing, but we'll see. So weekly pivots above, so if we do see any sort of change of direction, it gives us a bit of a target, but aside of that, we have to err on the bearish side at the moment with what I'm seeing. So that's pretty much cable. There's no news out today that is likely to, or no scheduled news, should I say, likely to affect the pound dollar. Okay, looking then at the euro dollar, and much flatter case. Friday actually saw a bit of an upside. I mean, obviously, cable is just the uncertainty of euro may be just affecting it more than anything else. The euro itself, still seeing sort of some gains there. If you flick back to the weeklies, well, it's just consolidating on the weeklies, much the same. If anything, there's still this sort of erring when you look at it on the dailies of these lower highs that are coming in the big picture. Every time it does pull up, they seem to put a slightly lower high in, but we'll see how we progress. At the moment, we've got the weekly pivot below us, which if any sell-off of the break of perhaps this morning's session lows, this early morning Asian session low, if we start seeing a break of that, it gives us a potential target down for today at least. Aside of that, there's little there. I mean, yesterday, on Friday rather, yesterday, it chopped through most of the day in a nice trending range. If you put a channel over that, you'll see, well, that'll bring us back mainly back towards that weekly pivot if it carries on this way. How would I become bullish? Really looking at the daily pivot there. If we can break the 34, then it's really expected more continued downside there. Targets, well, it's not very much really. It's about 17 pips from the pivot downward, so it's not like it's a huge move by any figment of imagination. Yeah, small move if it happens, and we're still seeing these relatively modest moves in the euro. Dollar yen, well, it doesn't seem that they can do too much. There was a forecast by the Bank of Japan that they would be down to 90 in 2017. Well, no better forecast than their own, really, I suppose. Normally they're trying to talk the dollar yen up, and well, not succeeding that well. From what we can see here, weekly pivots above us. If it can get out of this sort of a bear flag that's sort of stalled a bit here, if it can break to the upside for the weekly pivot, it's obviously a near target which may be approached. Aside of that, well, a break of the lows, and we could just literally drop the trend line across the lows there. Could see us continue on the downside, see us heading forwards. I mean, it's already hit the S1 area, or kissed the S1, but it's good to see us S2, or maybe even to last Thursday's lows at the S3 there. Aussie dollar, well, oil shot. In fact, let's just have a quick look at oil commodity countries. You see oil. Well, it's the last part of Friday's trading there. It dropped quite a bit, but about 4 or 5%, but it's sitting still now. Just look back at the commodity. So Aussie dollar there, well, came off on Friday there to probably pretty much suit that. We saw the spike down, but not anything overly significant. At the moment, I'm looking at the 240. I'm looking at the time frame and looking at the weekly pivot that's sitting below us here at 75.90. It continues in this sort of vein. Well, that seems like a reasonable target to be approaching. How to play it? Well, looking back at the 60s here, maybe a break of the lows from the Asian session. Could see an entry. We could draw trend lines across from the lows here. Let's just pop the trend line in from the most recent low from last week. If I could only worked, be good. So we see a break of this trend line. We could see it coming back off to the weekly pivot, but may just get a bit of bouncing around these prior Asian session lows, so you have to be a bit careful. Okay, and finally the Canadian dollar. Well, we know oil's been slipping off. We would, especially last week, we'd expect a bit of continuation on the upside here, and we're seeing that at the moment. So Friday was sort of firing up quite early. Actually, it started going about 12, and it's pushed up more. At the moment, looking like it could eventually get towards that 200 moving average, which it's managed not to do for months and months. Short term, well, if it breaks the 21s, we've got the weekly pivot, daily pivot below us, which any sell-off here, any pips in or push up in the price of oil, could see it coming down towards these two targets whilst they're pretty close. Alternatively, a break of these highs there, and it looks like it may just want to carry on pushing upwards. Okay, news-wise today, there's very little news out of significance. We've got the German IFO business climate data coming out this morning at 9 o'clock. Barely generally gives us much of a kicker. We've got the Swiss National Bank chairman, Jordan, speaking at 10:30. It's unlikely to give much volatility, but we could get a bit of volatility, and it could knock onto the euro. New home sales later on at 3, nothing significant there, and Draghi speaking at 4:05. Well, he's probably going to be repeating what he's been saying in previous central bank meetings, so can't see a great deal of reaction there. That's it. Apparently, there's an OPEC meeting. Thank you very much, Neil. I haven't got it on my list of listings here, which is rather annoying, but we do have an OPEC meeting, and if they can start coming out with some positive comments, well, that could be obviously very positive for the Canadian dollar. Alternatively, if they're pretty negative and no agreements met, well, let's see the CAD fly. Right, that's it for me. Have a great one. Bye for now.